Physically, we are entirely anchored right here, right now. But mentally, the human condition dictates we are violently split between two non-existent eras. We feel an intense magnetic pull backward. We sit quietly and ruminate on old failures, replaying moments of bitterness, and obsessing over regrets that we have absolutely no power to change. At the exact same time, we feel the opposing pole of tomorrow. We let a deep, paralyzing anxiety take hold regarding our future success, our financial security, and a dozen unknown threats that haven't even happened yet. As this timeline shows, friction between yesterday's regret and tomorrow's panic creates time leakage. The present is squeezed out of existence. Because of this mental time travel, we spend our lives waiting to be happy, rather than experiencing happiness in the moment. Obsessing over times we cannot touch guarantees we will miss the only time we actually possess. Let's look closely at the mechanics of yesterday. Constantly looking backward is a strict logical trap. The past is permanently out of our jurisdiction. Mathematically, it cannot be altered, it cannot be fixed, and you cannot negotiate with it. It is locked. In spiritual terms, addressing those past errors through repentance doesn't act as a simple apology. It acts as a total, comprehensive erasure. The mystic writer St. John Saba framed it this way: divine grace wipes the slate so completely that it restores absolute innocence. The past becomes a closed, irrelevant book that no longer defines you. Because the past is both physically unchangeable and spiritually wiped clean, investing any emotional energy into it is a total waste of human potential. We fall for a similar illusion on the opposite end of the timeline, driven by an obsession with predicting and controlling tomorrow. We hoard wealth and stockpile power to guarantee our future security. But that sense of control is entirely fabricated. There is an old Jewish proverb that addresses this directly. It states that worrying about tomorrow's evils is irrational, because tomorrow's reality is entirely unknown. You may not even be alive, meaning you are losing sleep over a world that isn't yours. With the door to the past permanently bolted and the future entirely out of our reach, the present moment is the sole remaining arena for human agency. Watch what happens when we reframe time. We aren't dealt massive, overwhelming decades. Every morning, we are issued a pristine 24-hour unit. This daily allowance is the exclusive theater where we have the capacity to act, work, and connect. Managing this specific, unbankable currency of ours is the true measure of our spiritual and practical economy. If this daily unit of time is our only theater of operation, then it is also the only place where the spiritual life can actually take root. Sanctifying the present isn't just a productivity hack. It is about finding a sense of joy and salvation in the only hour you actually inhabit. Consider a 50-year stagnant life. Contrast that with John the Baptist, who had a massive historical impact in a ministry of 6 months. True value is tied to presence, not simply the duration of years lived. There is a heavy stereotype that a dedicated spiritual life requires severe misery. Saint Apollo, an early desert ascetic, argued aggressively against this. He pointed out that believers are heirs, and heirs should be intrinsically joyful. We usually define eternity as a distant era, something that only begins once the clocks stop. But if God is constant, then eternity isn't a destination at the end of the road. It's a state of being we step into right now. Delaying a good action, whether it's charity, a moment of prayer, or simple joy, until tomorrow, actively prevents you from experiencing that taste of eternity today. We must move through time like a child holding its mother's hand. That child feels completely safe. They aren't worried about yesterday, and they aren't plotting out tomorrow. They are fully, entirely engaged in the now. By decisively dropping the ghosts of yesterday and tomorrow, we finally step through the doorway into the only moment where true life and eternity actually exist.